this Viking tradition makes bank today. What if I told you the Vikings never really left? We think of them as ancient history, bearded warriors in horned helmets, which, by the way, they never actually wore, who supposedly vanished from the world 1,000 years ago. We see them in movies, read about them in books, and assume their traditions are just gone, stuff for the museums. But that's not the whole story, not even close. The truth is, the Vikings are still around, and one of their oldest traditions isn't just surviving, it's a multi-million-dollar business. It's a living, breathing part of our modern world that generates fortunes, creates jobs, and draws massive crowds. So we're heading to one of Europe's largest Viking festivals to see exactly how the old world is making a fortune in the new one. Section 1. The Myth of the Vanished Vikings. When you picture a Viking, you probably see a raider, axe in hand, ready for plunder. And for a while, that was part of their story. The Viking Age, from the late 8th to the early 11th centuries, was defined by their expansion across Europe and beyond. They were explorers, traders, and settlers who left their mark everywhere from North America to the Middle East. But history didn't just stop. The Viking Age ended, but the people and their culture didn't just disappear. They integrated, they evolved, and they laid the groundwork for modern nations. Their language, laws, and stories were absorbed into the cultures they met. And for centuries, that's where the story seemed to end. The Vikings became figures of legend, their traditions confined to museums. That's what I thought too. That Viking culture was something you looked at under glass. But then I started hearing about these massive events where thousands of people don't just remember the Vikings, they become them. They're part of a global community dedicated to authentically recreating the past. The more I looked, the clearer it became that this wasn't just playing dress up. This was a serious enterprise, an entire industry built around one powerful idea: history sells. I discovered the core tradition driving all of this wasn't raiding or warfare, but something far more central to their society: the festival, a time for gathering, for trade, for craftsmanship, and for community. Today, that tradition is the heart of a thriving modern economy. To understand it, I had to go to the epicenter, a city in northern England that was once one of the most important Viking cities in the world, York, or as the Vikings called it, Jorvik. Section 2. The Journey to Jorvik. Every February, something incredible happens in the city of York. It travels back in time to host the Jorvik Viking Festival, an event that's been running for 40 years and now stands as one of the largest of its kind in the world. It pulls in tens of thousands of people from all over the globe, all here for a week of Norse life. Walking into the city during the festival is surreal. The first thing that hits you isn't a sight, but a smell: wood smoke. It hangs in the air, drifting from the living history encampment in the heart of the city. Here, hundreds of reenactors live for a week as their Viking Age counterparts. They sleep in canvas tents, cook over open fires, and live the daily life of a 10th century artisan, trader, or warrior. This is where you see that the tradition of craftsmanship is alive and well. Blacksmiths hammer glowing steel, their rhythmic strikes echoing through the square. Woodworkers use foot-powered lathes to carve intricate bowls. Weavers create complex textiles on looms, and leatherworkers stitch shoes and belts with incredible skill. And these aren't just demonstrations. This is a marketplace. The items being made here are for sale, and business is booming. People are lining up to buy authentic handmade goods, from jewelry based on archaeological finds to hand-forged axes. These crafts are a direct line to the past and a key driver of the festival's economy. But the real soul of the event is the people. I spoke to a software engineer who spends his weekends as a Viking warrior and a history teacher who's now an expert in Norse textiles. For them, this is more than a hobby. It's a passion that has become a side business, and for some, a full-time career. They are part of a global network of reenactment groups, some with thousands of members, all dedicated to historical accuracy. They see themselves as custodians of the culture, using entertainment as a powerful way to teach. And then there's the spectacle. The festival's grand finale is a march of hundreds of warriors through the city streets, drums pounding and shields clashing. It leads to a massive, full-scale battle reenactment, a carefully choreographed, thrilling display that draws record crowds. It's no surprise that most of these flagship events sell out every single year. It's incredible to see a passion for history create such a vibrant community. These artisans and reenactors are the engine of this whole experience. If you think it's amazing that ancient skills are being kept alive like this and want more stories that bust historical myths, take a second to subscribe. It helps us know you want more deep dives just like this one. Section 3, the multi-million-dollar revelation. Standing in the middle of this bustling, living recreation of the past, you feel the energy, you see the passion and the community. But what you can't see at first glance is the sheer scale of the economy it powers. This isn't just a quaint cultural event, it's a powerhouse. The Jorvik Viking Festival pulls in around 40,000 to 45,000 visitors every year. Think about that. A small city's worth of people descending on York for 1 week, all spending money. They book hotels, eat at restaurants, shop in local stores, and buy tickets. The result? The festival injects an estimated £6 million into the local economy every single year. That's £6 million from one festival in one city based on a tradition over 1,000 years old. Even when the world shut down, the demand didn't stop. The festival moved online and its virtual events sold out almost instantly, proving just how strong the pull of this culture is. And this isn't an isolated case. It's a business model being replicated elsewhere. In Ireland, new interactive Viking experiences are being developed to attract more tourists and generate millions in revenue for local areas. But the festival model is just one piece of this booming industry. The Viking tradition of seafaring and exploration has been reimagined into one of the most successful travel businesses on the planet, Viking Cruises. While not a historical reenactment, the company has built its entire global brand on the romance and heritage of Viking exploration, and it is making an unbelievable amount of money. In 2024, Viking Holdings reported total revenues of $5.33 billion. That's billion with a B. They've successfully tapped into a market of travelers hungry for cultural and historical experiences. As of early 2025, a report noted that 70% of their cruise capacity for the year was already sold out. The name Viking itself has become a trademark for adventure and a connection to history, and it's worth billions. From a local festival generating millions for a city to a global corporation leveraging the Viking name for billions in revenue, the evidence is overwhelming. The tradition of Viking heritage of gathering, crafting, exploring, and storytelling is not only alive, it is one of the most profitable historical brands in the modern world. History is alive. So, the Vikings never really left, they just changed careers. We started this journey with the myth that Viking traditions were dead and gone. But here, in the smoke and noise of the festival, and in the staggering numbers on corporate balance sheets, we found the truth. History isn't just something you find in a dusty book. It's a living, breathing force. It's a community, a passion, and an incredibly successful business. It's an industry that supports artisans, entertains thousands, and pours millions into local economies. It proves that the past has a very real and profitable place in our present. The ships and swords might be replicas, but the money is very, very real. The greatest the Vikings left behind wasn't gold or silver. It was their story, and it's a story that is still being told and sold 1,000 years later. It makes you wonder what other parts of our history are waiting to be rediscovered, not just as a lesson, but as an experience. Let me know what you think in the comments below.